With print on demand, just like any other product-based business, there is bound to come a time when you have a customer that wants some form of return, refund, or exchange. You're getting sales in your shop, you finally feel like you're getting a solid understanding of this whole print on demand thing. You've had some 5-star reviews even, then one day you get a message. It starts with help request, and suddenly your heart sinks. A customer says their shirt is too small and they need to exchange it, or worse yet, it arrives damaged, or perhaps there's a stain on it and they want a replacement. What now? For new sellers in particular, this can be a very intimidating experience. So for today's video, I want to walk you through a few common scenarios and strategies for handling them with confidence. In case we haven't met yet, my name is Mandy and as the owner of multiple 6-figure businesses, including Etsy print-on-demand shops, my goal is to provide you with strategies to simplify the journey and scale your business faster so that you can stop the overwhelm, start making progress, and thrive with your print-on-demand business. Now in business, one of the first things you want to have in place is your policies, and selling on Etsy with print-on-demand is no exception. I like to have what I call internal and external policies. Here's what I mean by that. Externally, meaning what I have set in my shop policies, is a no returns and no exchanges policy. This is what is displayed in my shop and on the order receipts that a customer receives. For print on demand, this is a pretty standard practice. Another important aspect is to make sure you set customer expectations. For example, including that items are made to order. If you sell direct-to-garment apparel, making sure that you explain that it's different, including a disclaimer that colors can appear different depending on screens. Strategies like this can go a long way to prevent issues up front. I have a whole video covering this as well. However, things do still happen, and that's when my internal policies kick in. Meaning I have some practices or standard operating procedures that I turn to internally as part of my business practices whenever these types of situations arise. Let's dive into some examples. First up, the exchange, which is one of the more common ones, especially if you are selling print-on-demand apparel. The customer might explain that it simply doesn't fit. It's too big, it's too small, and they want to exchange it. One approach is to offer an exchange, but only if they purchase a new one first so that you know that they truly want an exchange. For this, I usually respond with, "Thank you for reaching out. I typically don't accept returns or exchanges as part of my posted Etsy policies, with the exception of printing errors, damages, etc. I work with a printing partner for my designs instead of keeping inventory, so each item is custom made at the time of ordering, and a new one would need to be made. That being said, I know things happen and I try to accommodate when I can, as I want you to love your purchase. If you'd like to purchase a different size, I would be willing to make an exception and offer a refund on the original one. You can place a new order at any time, and I would just need you to return the original one and provide me with a tracking number in order to provide the full refund. Let me know if you'd like to do that, and I will provide you with my direct address for returning." In this scenario, you are giving a full refund on that first one, but you are getting it back and can then either keep it as a sample or you can manually ship it out when it's ordered again. The benefit of this approach is that customers are generally pretty responsive to it because they feel like they are getting special treatment and they feel taken care of. Since the customer is placing a new order, you don't need to do anything different in Printify, and you'll be able to submit the new order just like normal once it syncs. Once you confirm the return with the customer, I recommend then canceling the original order in Etsy, which fully refunds it and prevents a review from being left on it after 48 hours. Now, not every seller wants to deal with spare inventory though, so I've used another approach that also works well. And in this scenario, I would say something like, "Thanks for reaching out. I typically don't accept returns or exchanges as part of my posted policies, with the exception of printing errors, damage, blah, blah, blah. Same thing we talked about before about accommodating. And instead of returning it and refunding, I would say, if you'd like to purchase a different size, I would be willing to offer a one-time use coupon for X% off of the original retail price, which is an additional X% off of my current sale and simply covers the cost of production. Let me know if you'd like to do that, and I will provide you with the code. Similar to the previous response, this still makes the customer feel taken care of, the cost of an additional one is covered, and you still keep the profits on the first one. And you aren't left with extra inventory. Since the customer is placing a new order, you don't need to do anything different in Printify, and you'll be able to submit the new order like normal once it syncs, just like the last one. I typically have just as good of a response from customers to this, and I find that as long as you are upfront about the situation and explaining the options that you've chosen to provide, more customers who genuinely still want the item are respectful about it. If you're in the situation, though, of a customer wanting to return an item simply for sizing issues or I changed my mind, I will typically respond with an offer to exchange, but I will typically still stick to my no return policy. Next scenario. Customer reaches out and indicates that there's a problem with what they received and they want a replacement. This could be due to a printing issue or damage in transit. Step 1, always get a photo first. Then assess the issue. Assuming from the photos that they provide you that the issue is valid, I always apologize to the customer first for the issue and let them know that I want to resolve it for them as quickly as possible. If it's something that was your fault, meaning there was a mistake on the design, wrong placement, take a deep breath, take the hit on the order, apologize to the customer for the mistake, and then the fastest way to resolve it is to duplicate the order in Printify and simply get a new one sent to them. If there was a problem with the design, make sure you fix that first. I always let the customer know that as soon as I have a new tracking number, I will send it to them. Mistakes are learning opportunities. Own the situation, resolve it as best as you can, learn from it so that you can continue to improve, and then move on. If, however, the issue was not your fault, I know that this can be disappointing, but I also know that it can happen sometimes. If there is clearly a visible issue in the item, again based on the photos that they provide you, this might be a stain, a crooked design placement, damage again during transit. The good news is that working with a printing partner like Printify means that ultimately you will get the cost of production and shipping back for the affected item. Again, take a deep breath, and I want you to focus on quickly responding to and supporting your customer. Respond back with an apology that this occurred. I also let them know that I work with a printing partner for my designs and that I have high expectations for my products as well. Let the customer know that you will work on a resolution right away. But here's where I do things a little different. I want you to go in and duplicate the original order in Printify and send it to production. It'll prompt you with all of the usual shipping information to confirm the order, and you'll get that going and submit it. Yes, this means you are paying for a new one first, but stick with me. Then I want you to go back into the original defective order, and then instead of requesting a replacement, you're going to request a refund. In the form that you complete next, you'll then attach the photos from your customer, and then I usually explain the issue and that I've already taken care of a replacement and that I simply need a refund on the original order. Why do I go this route? This gets it going into production faster than waiting for a response from customer support or opening up a chat. You can certainly request a replacement and wait for support. I do this in scenarios where the issue is maybe questionable and I want Printify to make the determination. But generally speaking, it can take a day or two to get a response. So by taking control of the situation and simply fast tracking a new order, this will result in your customer getting their replacement faster. And a faster resolution means a happier customer. I then go back to the customer, let them know a replacement is in progress, and then I'll communicate updates to them once I have tracking. I have gotten multiple 5-star reviews out of this process. So it is definitely possible to salvage things with a customer with a little extra customer service effort. Now, sometimes you will also run into situations of either what I call buyer's remorse or even more challenging, picky customers. Both of these are highly subjective and unpredictable, and these can also be expensive if you're trying to give refunds for all of them. Sometimes a customer is just super picky. Sometimes a customer doesn't understand the apparel printing process or didn't read your description on direct-to-garment printing. I've even had people complain that it wasn't embroidered when nowhere in my shop, on my listing, or in my images do I even remotely mention embroidery. Now, in many cases like these, it's not that you've done something wrong, and of course, you should always be doing your best. But the reality here is that there are lots of people in this world with lots of opinions, and in business, you'll never be able to please all of them. And contrary to popular belief, the customer isn't always right. So then, what do you do to protect you and your business in these situations? A lot of new sellers panic when this happens and will simply default to a refund. And again, there's nothing wrong with this, but it can get expensive. And I have done this as well if I just really want a customer to go away. If you've ever had one like this, you'll know what I mean. Before you go that route though, again, take a deep breath and assess the situation. Does everything appear correct based on the product you intended to create? Did the product that they receive match what you indicated you were selling? If the answer to both of these is yes, then my typical response is something along the lines of, thank you for reaching out. I work with a printing partner for my designs and therefore do not offer returns or exchanges for purchases unless there is a printing error, damage, etc. I used to be a bit more lenient on this as a business owner, but honestly nowadays there are so many people that try to take advantage of small businesses that I personally choose not to take a profit loss for someone else's buyer remorse or poor attention to detail. Do I have exceptions? Of course. There are dozens of different situations you can find yourself in. That doesn't mean that you can't do something different for your business, but after years of dealing with products and customer service, this is the habit that I tend to now stick with. And more importantly, don't let fear be the reason that you let your business suffer. Negative feedback, disgruntled customers, and the occasional bad review are the less exciting part of business, but they do happen. Good customer service when legitimate issues happen is one thing. Giving in out of fear from a review is another. So just be mindful of that when you are trying to consider whether or not you want to take a loss on an order. The last point I want to make in all of these types of situations is that while you can often salvage a bad review by navigating these scenarios successfully, sometimes that bad review will still happen anyway, even if you've gone above and beyond with your customer. In these circumstances, it can sometimes warrant responding publicly with the facts. And if you do need to go that route, remember that your priority becomes having something professional written as a response that future customers will see. And hopefully realize that this is likely a customer issue and not a reflection on you or your shop. At the end of the day, don't let you or your business get bullied by an unreasonable or terrible customer. When an issue presents itself, remember, don't panic, take a step back and investigate the issue. Lean on your shop policies when necessary. Take care of your customer first when there truly is an issue, and then ultimately make the decision that makes the most sense for your business. You get to be in the driver's seat of that. Customer service issues never get easier, but over time, you will get more confident in your ability to handle them professionally. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you want to learn more about my strategies for thriving in your print-on-demand business, make sure you've got the notifications turned on for my channel so that you don't miss out on any of my content. And in the meantime, be sure to check out my free print-on-demand course in the description, as well as my time blocking series here on my channel for an even deeper dive on the critical steps for success. Thanks for watching, my friends. I'm so glad you're here, and I'll see you in the next one.